Welcome to Happily Divorced with Karishma. What if I told you that success isn't about hitting a $250,000 mark in your bank account or driving a luxury car? What if real success is already in your bank account, in your driveway, in your life right now? Today I'm sharing the messy, tearful truth about how I almost traded in my peace for a BMW and why choosing my 3-year-old car became the most profound lesson in self-worth that I've ever learned. Let's go. I had been chasing things outside of me to define my worth and value my whole life. And yesterday I had the biggest epiphany, and I wanted to share these insights with you all. Last week I was connecting with one of my clients who is currently in EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, where there is a minimum requirement of having a $250,000 income in order to qualify. And when she came in several months ago into EO, she had met the requirements. However, the last few months, business has been a little slow. She's had a number of travel adventures that took her away from her usual work. She's in the middle of writing a book, and basically life is happening where, to be honest, as a spectator, the focus has not been on sales generation or lead generation. It's been divided by other things that are important to her, including writing her book. So here we are, we were having a conversation, and there was this mental yo-yo that she came to me with, which was, I want to stay in EO and I'm willing to do whatever I can to make it happen. And this other part of her that was trying to be okay with letting go, because the truth is she may or may not qualify for that next income piece. So we're having this conversation, and the questions that I asked her were, what does it mean for you to be in EO? To which she gave me some answers, like wanting to surround herself with successful entrepreneurs that were doing awesome things, the enjoyment of it, the networking of it, and so on and so forth. But then I asked her what it would mean for her if she didn't get in. She answered, it would mean that she didn't make it. It would mean that somehow she had failed on some level. And I asked her what success meant to her. And I asked her, what does success mean to you? To which she said, success is, honestly, Karishma, sitting here, being here. She'd taken 2-week hiatus off to write her book, and having the solitude, having the peace to be able to do so in a new environment, a beautiful environment. And she's like, for me, success kind of feels like what I'm living in right now. And I said, so what's more important to you? This metric of success from someone on the outside, this metric of worth and value on the outside, or enjoying this free version of yourself, of your life, of entrepreneurship in the way that you are now? What feels like success to you? And it's like somehow this lightning bulb just went off in her head. And she goes, oh my God, Karishma, I already am successful. And I've been chasing this thing outside of me to define success when I already am. And that was such a proud moment for me as a coach, as a witness to this transformation, because I've seen this teeter-totter for many, many months. But to really align with what is, to choose life as is, to be at peace with self, whether the bank account reflects some metric or not, for me, that is the gold that I think is everything. And what we're exploring here today. Which brings me to my story. I was sharing last week in my podcast about buying a new car and the emotions and feelings I have around my Tesla and being in the pursuit of something a little bit different that meets a different requirement, a gas car to go long distances, so on and so forth, and exploring all of that. And you know what's crazy? I preach this all the time. Aligning to peace, to make life peaceful, to make life simple, to let go of the things that don't serve us, and to come back to that intentionality of aligning with self, aligning with heart over and over again in every single day. And for what happened for me personally was really interesting. My boyfriend came up from Houston, and I really wanted his insight around cars. So his advice to me was, Karishma, just go out and explore. And I did, and I narrowed it down to a beautiful BMW. And literally we were at the dealer for 6-7 hours on Saturday. I literally had the loan papers in my hand that I need to submit to my credit union to go. I had everything that I needed in order to purchase this car from the dealer. As we left the dealership, we ended up stopping at a grocery store to pick up a few things for dinner that night. And I found myself just shedding some tears. The tears of loss, the tears of grief, the tears of letting go of my beloved Tesla. And you see, for me, this Tesla is such a huge sign of independence and freedom. And I'm going to try to articulate it here. It was the symbol of like a new beginning for me. It was a symbol of permission to be joyful and to buy something joyful and fun and freeing. And a lot of 20-somethings have fun, joyful cars, sporty cars, two-door cars. My brother had one after the other. I've always had the responsible car. I've always had like the parents hand-me-down sedans or the responsible four-door cars that are going to be reliable, all of which are important qualities. But this was the first time I'd actually given myself permission to have a car that was a bit of a splurge and that was liberating. To this day, 3 years later, I really should get incentives from Tesla as I'm talking about this here. But to this day, 3 years later, 3.25 years later, I still have that same feeling of freedom as I sit in my car, as I crank up the sound system, which is far superior to any luxury car that I've tried out there. I mean, I've tried everything the last 2 weeks. My sound system blows everything out of the water. And that feeling is there and it's real. And as I'm coming home, we're pulled over at the grocery store, I'm in the parking lot, and I could not stop the tears of letting this go. And it's so interesting because the dealers kept asking me, several people at the dealership asked me throughout the day, so what's the occasion? And I was like, I didn't know I had to have an occasion to buy a new car. To which somebody responded, this is the second most important purchase you'll ever have in your entire life outside of your home. And I was like, I guess I'd never considered it in that way. So I'm coming home, I'm in tears. And then on Sunday morning, yesterday, the tears continued. The sadness continued, the grief continued. And I felt like I was losing a loved one. I'd never experienced a car in that way. If you ask me if I care about cars, I would tell you it's not that important to me. I would tell you a big house is not important to me. I found myself consumed with this grief and sadness. And the sadness continued way into mid-afternoon. And I picked up my kids from their dad's house to take them to the park. And I said, let's go to the park. And my daughter says, Mom, can we just drive around in the Tesla? Because I'm going to miss it. And that just made me even more sad. So I'm having all these, mixed emotions, yo-yo. Finally, late evening on Sunday, I finally started to step into a little bit of excitement. And the sadness was still there. And this brain of mine was teeter-tottering between what I thought I wanted. If you asked me what I wanted, 1 minute I would tell you Tesla, and the next hour I would tell you this BMW. So this sort of mental angst consumed me throughout the day. And the truth is, in the real estate market, and I'm a real estate investor along with being a coach, it's been a tough year. I'm more than okay. But as a whole, real estate investors are really struggling right now as a result of the market not moving. And my financial expectation of where things should have been are far from the reality of what is. And I'm grateful for everything I have, and I'm more than okay. But the truth is, this new car would create a massive ding in my pocket and create more years of paying off the car versus the 2-3 that I have expected with my current loan. So I'm looking at all of these variables, all of these things, and I'm just like, oh my God. When I make financial decisions, I try to make them from a place of overflow. Like, am I going to be able to put this X amount of money aside and have no stress about it and be okay not having it? Like, when it comes to real estate, if you're ever considering investing, take something out of a surplus, not out of something that you depend on day after day after day. And that's a philosophy that I try to uphold in my life, in my business, in my financial things. And sometimes things will happen, like this big AC repair I had that cost me nearly 5 figures just a couple of weeks ago. Things are going to happen, but for the most of the time, I try to make decisions out of surplus, out of like an overflow. And as I sat with all of this teeter-totter was constant. And my ego wanted that beautiful, shiny car that I just left behind at the dealership. My ego wanted this beautiful symbol of luxury, that status symbol, if you will. Ego wanted that. And yet, every time I actually try to align with that, this other side of me would go into a little bit of a spin. It doesn't really feel totally peaceful. As I was talking to my partner about all these things, we were like, what else? What could be another solution to the initial problem that posed the idea of selling the Tesla in the first place? And that was about having a car that was a little bit more peaceful, calm in going back and forth from Dallas to Houston. And we came up with an amazing solution that is going to be just a few bucks out of pocket, super peaceful, super connected. And we came up with a solution together as a plan C. And it was like, oh my God, this feels so peaceful. And for those of you that are like in this state of indecision about anything, I'm going to ask you to come back to your heart. What does it feel like to really align with decision A? And what does it feel like to fully align with decision B? And every time I kind of stepped into decision A, which was buying a new car, I would have like angst. And it took me out of the peace. And it was uncanny because the second I called the dealer and I said, I cannot move forward with this. And the second that decision was done, I felt this profound peace in my heart, this profound opening in my heart, this profound joy in my heart. And I picked a place to go get a massage last night that was 25 minutes away from home. So I could go fly on the freeway here in Texas, blast my music, listen to my favorite music in this incredible sound system that I have, and just enjoy the experience of being. And finally just letting go of this additional stress that I had put on me. No one had put it on me. No one had put a gun to my head saying, oh my God, Karishma, you need to buy a new car. None of that. It was completely self-imposed from within myself. And the second I gave myself permission to let it go and say, I'm not doing that anymore, profound peace, profound calm, profound joy, profound tears of gratitude as I was going home yesterday. Gratitude for the lessons that this past week has brought up. Gratitude for being able to share this experience and feeling closer to my man than I ever have as he walked hand in hand with me through this entire experience. Profound gratitude for sharing this experience with my 13-year-old boy who, when it came to car shopping, willingly got up at 8 something when normally waking up at 11 something would be a problem. Grateful for being able to talk things out with my brother who used to sell cars for a living and being able to talk through things from a space of logic and calm and just realizing how much support the universe has for me. And today I don't have a new car because I didn't choose it. I chose peace, and I just get to see my car as is, what I have. I was like, oh my God. It's exactly what my client said to me last week. Success is wanting what you have. Success is wanting what you have, not chasing something outside of you, to really be okay, aligning with what is, and being grateful for everything that is here right now. Thank you for listening.